I think the Chinese have behaved very, very shrewdly in managing their economy, and they've gotten better results than we have in managing our economy. And I think that will probably continue. And sure, we all love the kind of civilization we have. I'm not saying I want to live in China. I prefer the United States, but I do admire what the Chinese have done. How can you not do it? Nobody else has ever taken a big country out of poverty so fast and so long. And what I see in China now just staggers me. There are factories in China that are just absolutely full of robots and are working beautifully. They're no longer using peasant girls to beat the brains out of our little shoe companies in America. They are joining the modern world very rapidly, and they're getting very skillful at operating.
Charlie Munger doubles down on his Alibaba position in Q4. We've just had the recent announcement come out with the latest 13F from the Daily Journal Corp. And we can see in this latest announcement, he has pretty much doubled his position with Alibaba, which is good to see. You can see that Charlie still has a lot of conviction for this company. Now, this is off the back of Q3, where he almost doubled down on his position again as well. We're going to have a quick look in a second over on Dataroma, just to have a quick look to see how it's all stacking up within the portfolio. And then we're going to finish up by having a quick listen to Mohnish Pabrai in a recent interview he did over on Everything Money, where he explained his reasoning behind selling out of Alibaba, which is definitely worth checking out if you have not seen that already. Anyway, with that said, let's jump on over to Dataroma to have a quick look at what Charlie Munger's been doing. Dataroma is a fantastic resource if you don't use it currently. Great way to keep track of and super investors to see what they've been doing over their most recent quarter. Luckily, Charlie Munger has actually submitted his 13F early, so we get a bit of a sneak peek before a lot of the other 13Fs start coming in. So let's jump on and have a quick look at that. So we can see it's the only position he's added to in the most recent quarter, adding 99.32% to his Alibaba holding. The reported price was $118.79. The one downside to these 13Fs, we don't know exactly where he was buying in, at what price, but we can get a bit of a gauge because we can look at the period to see what the lowest was and what the highest price was within that most recent period. So we can see in Q1 of 2021 was when Charlie Munger first brought into Alibaba. And that was, the reported price was around the $226. Like I said, we don't know exactly if that's when the price he was buying in at, but you could say roughly it was around that price point. Q2 of 2021, he didn't add to that position at all. But then in Q3 last year, we saw him add to that position quite substantially by adding 82.71%. Now the reported price around that time was $148. And then most recently in Q4, this is for last year, 2021, he added 99.32% at the reported price of $118.79. So now if we were to add up those three reported prices, like I said, it's a bit of give and take within these, but this will give us a rough idea of his average buy price. So if we add up 118 with 148 and also 226, now if we divide that by 3, that should give us our average buy price for the Daily Journal Corp, and that would work out around $164. This is just an average sort of buy price. Now if we look at currently what Alibaba is currently trading for, it's around $120, so it's still significantly lower than what it's currently trading at today. Now we're going to jump over and have a quick listen to Mohnish Pabrai to hear his reasoning to why he sold out of his Alibaba position. This was the most recent interview he did with the Everything Money YouTube channel, which I highly recommend going over and checking that out if you haven't seen some of their videos. They do some fantastic breakdowns of a lot of different companies. So let's jump on over and listen to Mohnish Pabrai to hear his reasoning why he sold out of his Alibaba position.
I mean, I think one thing to keep in mind about investing in general is there's very strong signal value when someone buys something. There is very weak signal value when someone sells something. So in general, if we are looking at Buffett's portfolio and we see that he bought something, that is very important to pay attention to. But when he sells something, that is not as relevant because we buy things only for one reason. Okay? We buy things to make money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, we sell things.
We sell things for 100 reasons.
Many
okay?
reasons.
So in the case of Alibaba, one of the reasons I sold Alibaba was for tax loss harvesting. Okay? And there were actually two reasons why we sold Alibaba. Probably more than two, but two are at least enough to justify it. Is that I had studied and learned about Tencent and Prosus after we had made the Alibaba investment. And after we made the Alibaba investment, the stock went down, and Prosus and Tencent also went down, but we hadn't invested in it yet. And it was really simple. If I sold Alibaba, we got the tax loss harvest. And one of the problems with tax loss harvesting is you can buy back the same security after 30 days.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And in the 30 days, it can move. So it can move against you. So you might have bought a stock at 250 and you might have sold it at 180, let's say, with the idea in 30 days I'll buy it back. But if it goes to 220 in 30 days, that's not such a, and it's hard to control that.
Right.
What I did with the Tencent Alibaba deal was I sold Alibaba. I moved the proceeds to Prosus, not Tencent, because Prosus is even better than Tencent. And I never needed to buy Alibaba back again because I thought the Tencent business was superior to the Alibaba business. So it was killing multiple birds with one stone, where I'm moving from a business that's good to a business that's even better. I get the tax loss harvest, and I would have been willing to buy Prosus at the higher price. I still got it at a lower price, so it's all okay.
What do you think normal investors are missing? I feel like you've been very adamant about Tencent, but I feel like the FOMO is, I feel like I'm missing something. We've gone over it on our show, all the divisions they have, all the different branches of that company. For a dummy like me, what are normal investors you think might be missing out or not learning about Tencent?
Yeah, I think Tencent is it's a mystery because they don't really explain the business. And the reason they don't explain the business is because they don't really want attention. They don't want competitors to understand the mousetrap they have. They definitely don't want governments to understand it. They really don't want anyone to understand it. They just want to be in stealth mode. And a lot of businesses are like that. Amazon was like that with AWS. And when the whale finally surfaced, they instantly attracted two large competitors who are going at it, head to head with them. And so Tencent wants to basically, I can understand why they don't want to talk about it because, and this is the case with many businesses, even the one in Turkey. I think one of the reasons they don't talk about it is they feel they would just attract other people into the field that they're really not looking to have attractions to. So if they have a great rail business, they just want to keep it to themselves. They just don't see any upside. And a lot of companies do that. A lot of companies have a kind of a balancing act between what the SEC requires and what disclosures they want to make, because all the competitors are reading all their annual reports and all of that.
So it was pretty good to hear from Mohnish there, his reasoning behind selling out of his Alibaba position for tax loss harvesting reasons to offset some capital gains that he had within the portfolio. And he has funneled a lot of that money back into a company called Prosus. Now, I've made a couple of videos on the channel where I break down Prosus and the arrangement between Naspers and Tencent and Prosus. So I definitely recommend checking those out if you haven't seen those. Just gives a very good high-level overview of the whole arrangement there. And the reasoning behind why Mohnish likes Tencent as a whole, and then the discount you get if you're buying that through the Prosus company. To close off today's video, I'd love to hear from you guys. What have you guys currently been doing? Have you been adding to your Alibaba position like Charlie Munger, or have you sort of more taken a page from Mohnish Pabrai? I've seen a number of different videos where people said they've sort of cloned Mohnish Pabrai and sold out of their Alibaba position for tax loss reasons as well, and also putting some of that money into Prosus. Like I said, I have made that video on Prosus if you wanted to check that out as well. But I'd be real curious to hear what you guys have been doing. Or have you just been doing nothing, just sitting on your position, you're happy with your allocation and just letting it sit? Me personally, I have been slowly adding to my Alibaba position as the price has been reducing, which is reducing my average cost basis on Alibaba, and I also have taken a small position in Prosus as well. Anyway, with that said, that's going to wrap us up for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like on the video. Much appreciated. It helps push these videos out a bit further. And if you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date. All right, stay safe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, guys.